this is Lord Ahriman of Dark Funeral. You're watching Impact Channel.
Greetings everyone, our guest today is Lord Ahriman from Dark Funeral. Hello, welcome back to Budapest.
Hi man, thank you.
How is the tour with Flash God Apocalypse and XDeo?
Yeah, it's been a good tour so far. Better than expected, so very happy.
Your latest album, We Are the Apocalypse, came out in 2022. Are you working on new material now?
Not at the moment, because we have been touring since October now, so it's no time. But I had a little bit time before we started this intense touring period to try out some new ideas. So I'm not on plain scratch. I got some ideas that I will continue to work on. But yeah, we've been touring a lot, so no time to think of new music.
I see. Your very first EP came out more than 3 decades ago. What was the black metal scene like when Dark Funeral was formed?
Well, it was kind of small, you know, and you know, one of the reasons we started the band was because we wanted to do things that nobody else did at that time. We wanted to do something more extreme, something more satanic, something more dark and evil, you know, type of music, and you know, bring something new to the game that we felt suited us more, you know. Yeah, so we kind of tried to create our own kind of, you know, music style. Of course, inspired a little bit, you know, by what was going on, but still create something new that the world hadn't discovered at that time.
Some of the Norwegian musicians told me that they experienced some difficulties around that time because of the church burnings and the murders. Did you have any hassle with that in Sweden around that time?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of things going on, and I know there was a period when the secret police was kind of checking us up on us and things, going through mail and things like that, but it was part of the game at that time, so nothing we really cared about.
Did you have any difficulties with the church, for example, or from society?
I don't know, I mean, of course, people, you know, it was something, you know, we did things more extreme than any other band had done at that time, so of course there was a lot of, you know, complaints that about this and that, and demonstrations outside the concerts, and, but yeah, it was part of that era of time.
By the way, what did you think about the Lords of Chaos movie?
I think it was, I mean, some of the stuff I remember, you know, at that time, you know, you were writing handwritten letters between each other. So you get all the stories from Norway, Finland, or other countries, you know, what was going on. So I remember when I got from some of my friends in Norway, wrote stories about things that was going on there, and much of that was, you know, displayed in the movie. I mean, it was good, but I don't know.
How do you see the evolution of black metal since the 80s? What do you think about the subgenres that have been created?
I mean, I've always been of the school that black metal is black metal, you know. It's either black metal or it's not.
Okay.
All this forest black metal or whatever it's called, I never understood when all those subgenres came up. But, you know, with Dark Funeral we always try to be very straightforward and very clear in what we are doing, and not trying to be, I mean, black metal is mysterious in one way, but I really like to be more in the fist in the face, you know, more straightforward with both the wording and everything surrounding the band. And I guess some people misunderstand that stuff and think it's either too much or maybe, yeah, I don't know.
So you were not the biggest fan of symphonic black metal when it came out?
I always liked symphonies, but when it comes to Dark Funeral, I've been inspired, you know, I want to create the symphonic feeling but with the guitars instead of using keyboards or other elements.
Right.
But that was, you know, There was a lot of classical inspiration when we started. You were listening to lots of Bach and Wagner, you know, things like that, and had that as a kind of source of inspiration. And I always had that with Dark Funeral. But my tool had been the guitar, and I want to kind of create that atmosphere with the guitar. That's kind of my way of writing music.
If you had a chance to hire a composer from the past to reorchestrate Dark Funeral's music, who will be your choice?
Well, from the past, I live in the future, or in the present.
Okay.
I never look into the past, because you can't recreate something that doesn't exist at this point of time. So,
I mean, if let's say you could ask Bartók or Edvard Grieg to create Dark Funeral's music into something symphonic.
yeah, but as I said, I live in the present. That's I can't ask them because they are no longer around us. So I'd rather be in the present, and who knows what happens in the future.
What does Satanism mean to you?
Well, it's my life.
Does it mean anything different to you from the 90s or nowadays?
Of course, you have more life experience and probably a little bit wiser with more knowledge and stuff like that. But I try, you know, my channel is the music. That's where I kind of ventilate my inner demons.
And how would you summarize Dark Funeral's career or the legacy of the band?
Hard work, dedication, and you know, never, you know, followed any rules. We've always walked our own path, created our own rules, and I guess, you know, some bands get stuck in whatever kind of box, but I never, you know, for me to create music, you know, this cannot be any boundaries. You know, it's my way of creating my own universe under my rules, no one else. And that's something lots of bands miss. They are stuck in some kind of made up rules by someone I don't know, and get locked into some kind of formula or whatever. And I guess, but I mean, we come from a generation, we started out when there was no band, you know, playing like us. So we kind of, as I said before, we created our own type of black metal, and if we would have followed rules at that time, there would be no Dark Funeral or this type of black metal, I guess. And nowadays, of course, many of the genres and black metal styles of black metal already exist, so I don't know how it is to be a new band at this time and trying to find your own way there. But I guess, you know, new generation come in, new impulse, you know, everybody have their own life experience and bring that into the band. So I guess, you know, I do my thing, you know, that's the most important. But I think bands should just focus on themselves and create their own universes, whatever anybody else say.
Do you have any new favorite band from the upcoming generation?
I haven't really listened too much, to be honest.
Alright.
I'm kind of boring in that sense. I mean, I like to discover new bands, but usually I, you know, listen to bands that I've listened to for a long time. So it doesn't, you know, I listen to some, and I'm kind of the wrong generation to understand the new generation. So I don't know.
And where do you go for inspirations nowadays?
Life, my own life, my inner demons, that's where, you know, and I always try to challenge myself, you know, as a songwriter and as a guitarist. Yeah, and you always get new impulse when you start writing a new album. I always have some ideas where I want to, you know, what I want to work on. But sometimes I realize that things take a different turn during the writing process. But that's kind of the excitement about being a songwriter.
And which are your favorite Dark Funeral albums by decade? Starting in the 90s.
Well, I very much live in the present, and obviously the latest, creation, the latest songs, the latest albums, that's, what represent me at this time. That's where I feel like most close to, because looking into an album that's 20 years, that album, that was me at that time. Of course, I'm proud of all our works, but I feel mostly connected to the latest songs that are written, of course, because that's me at this time.
I see. If you could pick the bands for a Dark Funeral tribute album, who would you like to hear to cover your songs?
Oh, I never thought about it. I mean, maybe some of my, some band that I grew up listening to, to get already, get lots of, credits from bands that I grew up listening to what I'm doing with Dark Funeral, but to have some of those bands to even cover a song would of course be a great honor, to show, to get that kind of attention and credit from them would be cool.
Do you have any plans for a side project beside Dark Funeral?
Yes.
And what would it be?
Like I said in an interview some time ago, when I do something, when it's ready to show, it's gonna be a big fucking bang in the media and in the scene. When I do something, it's gonna be epic in all ways. So everybody will know about it when it happens.
And how did you become a metal fan?
How to describe? My parents was always, I grew up in the 70s, and my parents was listening to rock music, the rock music that were in the 70s. And I guess that was, kind of that generation of metal. So rock, when you listen to that when you was a baby and grew up, I guess that attracted, there was maybe something in that attracted you. And then when metal came, Black Sabbath and bands like that, you were easily drawn into that world. And for me, I always kind of drawn into the more extreme. So my generation, we're lucky, we have followed the whole, evolution of metal.
Right.
I've been going through all the scenes, but I was very quick to, get into the most extreme I could find all the time.
Do you remember the first album you bought?
First album I bought, I don't know, but I have a very good memory the first time I was listening to Black Sabbath. This was my neighbor at that time. There were 5 kids in the family, and the oldest guy, he was maybe 10 years older than us. So I was friends with the youngest guy in that family. We sneaked into his room, and he had lots of Black Sabbath, or he had a Black Sabbath album, some other metal album, and we put it on because we heard it was something very dark and dangerous. Of course, we had to listen to it, and I still see that whole thing as a movie in my head, and I can't have been more than 5 years maybe.
And what was your first concert as a fan?
First concert, my parents always took me on, rock concerts when I was growing up, and I can't remember the first rock concert I went to. But I grew up in a very small city, so there were no metal concert there. It wasn't until I became, I think I was 15 years old when I started going all by myself on a flight from my hometown up in the north part of Sweden, on a flight down to Stockholm to visit concerts.
And what was your first concert as a musician? How old were you when you played first on stage?
We did, with my previous, my first band called Satan's Disciple, we did 2 shows. One where we kind of only invited a couple of friends just to try how it felt standing on the stage. I know I have a videotape of that, and that was kind of horrible. And then we did another, and I think it was actually, one of the organizers, it was like in the small town next to where I grew up, from Abruptum, Andre, what's his name? I kind of lost. We used to play with Abruptum in the early days. He came from that city. And actually I met him like a year ago on the airport for the first time in forever. But yeah, I think he was part of organizing a concept. And that was kind of, we were like the main headliner. There was lots of talk, so we had lots of pressure on us. I can't remember too much of that show, but there are rumors there is some videotapes of that one. And I would love to get a hold of it. It would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was so fucking nervous at that time, to be on stage. I mean, I'm not that, I don't really like being around lots of people. So being on stage, then I do what I feel comfortable with. That is one thing, but I would never like walk into a room, have a speech in front of people without feeling really uncomfortable. I'm learning by time to chill a little bit, but at that time stage fright was massive.
How old were you when you started to play music?
Maybe 6.
Was it guitar or some other instrument?
No, I started playing piano, violin. I played lots of different instruments over the years when I grew up. It was, instrument that I had in my family, either at home or in my grandparents' place.
Do you remember your very first guitar?
Oh yes, I ordered a guitar from a BS-Rich Warlock from a German company.
It was already a BC Rich.
Yeah, and I still have the receipt and everything. My mother was so good to save it for me. I can't remember what year it was, but I still have the receipt from the. I don't have the guitar because that guitar got stolen. I borrowed it to a friend. I had a concert in Stockholm and apparently it got robbed or whatever. But yeah, I can't remember what year that was. Maybe 88, maybe 87, 88, I guess.
What was the first song that you learned to play on the guitar?
Well, I guess it was Black Sabbath, like everybody else. But I never really played. I'm not that guy who have been playing lots of covers over the years. I always created my own. Already from start, I wanted to create my own music. And it's always been like that. I have many, requests over the years. Don't you want to come and jam with us? I don't know how to jam. I'm not a guitarist in that way. I'm more like, I used to say, I'm more like a songwriter than a guitarist. I'm a songwriter with a crazy vision that I want to fulfill on stage, live on stage, I guess. But I've never been into, jamming or playing covers. It's never been in my interest.
If I remember well, you played Dead Skin Mask from Slayer in 1999 when I saw you first.
Yeah, we did a couple of covers for an EP, which were pretty cool. That was a band we grew up listening to and bands we liked. We were asked if we wanted to record some songs for some tribute albums, and yeah, at that time it was a great chance to do that. But other than that, well, we did some better covers a couple of years before that actually. But other than that, I've never really been into playing covers.
And what kind of gear do you use nowadays? What kind of amplifier? What kind of guitars?
We are pretty much digital these days. I use the ESP guitar. I have Fishman pickups, really good, really improved the sound. I'm using a head rush now. We're gonna move over to a new quad cortex. I have one at home, but I haven't had time to get into it. Yeah, using in-ear system, which really improve everything. I think we're more tighter than ever. I like to keep it kind of simple, but still, make sure that we bring a great live sound for the crowd.
What's your favorite string brand?
I use the Adoria.
Do you get a different vibe when you're playing your music on the stage? Or is it the same like when you're listening to your own music?
Yeah, I mean on stage I can become one with the music, and it's a very powerful feeling and experience to be able to, you know, go all in, create your own fucking world on stage and just become one with the song. It's a very strong feeling, and I guess that's one of the things I like by playing live, that I can, you know, I don't know, get those kind of feelings, you know, out from the system in one way or another, and experience them in a very strong, direct way.
What are your plans after the European tour?
Vacation. We've been touring since October, so we will need vacation, and then we go back on tour in March. And yeah, I've been struggling with lots of injuries and fucking surgeries and shit, and apparently I'm going in for another surgery. So I'm trying to find, I'm waiting for them to get in touch and see when I can. I need to try and squeeze them in between the touring. We'll see how that goes this time.
Good luck on that.
But I hope that's the last time, so I can really get back in shape again, because I'm kind of tired of always being kind of on a rehab program, go on tour, be on rehab program, and yeah, it's been kind of difficult.
Please list your 5 favorite albums of all time.
It goes day by day. I can't really do that. But of course, Painkiller with Judas Priest. You know, Mayhem Mistress Doom Satanas will always be like the black metal album that really changed the scene. I think, you know, it's still such a great fucking album. Well, there's others, you know, lots of thrash and thrash metal albums and stuff.
And what is the meaning of life for you?
Freedom.
Do you have any last words to your friends?
It's great to be fucking here, and make sure to hail Satan.
Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.